Hey, welcome to another episode of The Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. Before we get into the segment, by the end of this video, I want you to do a few things for me. First of all, if you like the video, hit the like button. Please do. If you don't like it, hit unlike. It's okay. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Sometimes, as Jimmy Dole would say, you find yourself unsubscribed and you need to make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell right next to it so you can be notified when a new video is being dropped. Whoop, there it is. And more importantly, the super chat will be on for this segment, so if you want to donate toward the efforts of Bob TV, that's freely up to you. I do have a job, but any amount will help toward the growth of this channel. And more important, let us help you help us by introducing you to a program. There's a link down below that says Equal Justice for All. You're going to click that video link, and there's some educational tutorial about a phenomenal program in America that is really making equal justice a reality for every citizen. So this program is phenomenal. The proceeds from you participating in the program will go back, 10% will go back into the Bob TV YouTube channel. So anyway, my name is Robert Brown with The Rob Report. Let's get into it.
Blue collar, white collar, black professors, white scholars, politicians, Dalai Lamas. Everybody in the whole wide world need hope if I be honest. I'm in that number.
Hey, good day. Welcome to another episode of Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown, and it is official. Well, it's not official yet. But Biden, according to news sources, talked to his high money donor, which disqualify him right away, that he's going to announce that he's running. And honestly speaking, man, you know, Joe Biden running for office?
I don't give a fuck.
That's right. I don't give a crap whether he's running for office or not. Now, if you go to some previous videos, I did a video, part one of video, Joe Biden and his crowning achievement in his life, and that was this crime bill. He is proud and he boasts the fact that he is the author and the finisher. Hillary Clinton promoted, Bill Clinton signed it in law, but I created it, Doc. So if anybody going to get some credit for the crime bill and welfare reform, it's me. And I showed you his position concerning minorities. And if you minorities are going to vote for Joe Biden just because he was the vice president of a black president, it's going back to identity politics again. Because you think, oh, Joe got our back because he was Barack Obama's vice president. Obama didn't have your back. Obama didn't have your back. Show me any piece of legislation where Obama had your freaking back. So what make you think Joe Biden's going to have your back, my black brothers and sisters? Heck, Obama didn't have white people back. Joe Biden ain't going to have nobody back. He's a warmonger, corporatist, condescending, cocky, arrogant, think that he had it tougher than anybody else. Let me get into the story.
All right, Mike, you got to get in on this one. We expect former Vice President Joe Biden to jump into the crowded Democratic primary field tomorrow. Two sources close to Vice President Biden with direct knowledge of the planning confirmed to NBC News the former vice president plans to announce his run tomorrow morning with an online video. He then will travel to Pittsburgh on Monday for an event at a local union hall, NBC has learned. Biden then plans in the following weeks to kick off his campaign with a tour of 4 early voting states: Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada. Meanwhile, Biden will enter the 2020 race with a huge fundraising disadvantage. The New York Times reports that opposed to his leading opponent, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who's raised more than $26 million across his various committees, Biden will enter the race with $0. The former vice president's campaign would have to raise $100,000 every day until Christmas in order to match Sanders' fundraising totals at the beginning of April. Mike, obviously Joe Biden will catch up in fundraising. He knows a lot of people in high places in the Democratic Party.
Before we get into this, He's announcing that he's running. He's always already behind. He claims to be at 0, but don't you dare let them fool you with this. The Democratic Party has been meeting with big money donors for Joe Biden to run for the longest time. All right? They really haven't found their golden child yet. Kamala Harris, even though she's trying to make a comeback, they really didn't put 100% stock in her because they were hoping Joe run. They didn't put 100% stock in Beto O'Rourke because they were hoping Joe run. So anybody that's running, even Buttigieg or Booty Judge, whatever his name, Mr. Booty, Big Booty, whatever his name is, he wasn't their final say-so. Joe Biden has always been their guy because he's close to Barack Obama. They'll be able to get Barack Obama to campaign for him. They'll be able to get, Hillary Clinton to campaign for him. They'll be able to get Michelle to campaign for him. They'll be able to get some of these neocons and these neoliberals to campaign for him, even some Republicans. But the bottom line is, who are you campaigning to? Now, he did mention in this piece, and we're going to continue to go further, that he's going to announce this at some labor union. The reason, you want to know why he's going to announce this as a labor union? Because he can't do like the rest of the candidates and announce it in front of his neighborhood in Scranton, because even Scranton don't even want him to be there. Even Delaware won't show up for Joe Biden. So he got to go amongst the labor people. So he's going to go say some speech, and none of that speech, I guarantee you, none of the speech is going to be about lifting up labor. And if it is, it's going to be a bunch of word salad with some Parmesan cheese and tomatoes on top and shredded cheese, 1,000 Allen dressing. In other words, all it is salad. It's going to taste good, but it ain't going to fill you up. So they're saying he has a medical disadvantage. But let me tell you something. What they want to do is they want to wow you. I guarantee you they got something in their pocket where they can say Joe Biden came out of nowhere, raised more money than Bernie Sanders, made it to the polls, and at the same time is now the front runner. All right, let's keep looking at this.
What's his mindset? What's his mentality as he hops into the race tomorrow?
Well, I think his mentality is that he is the only guy who can certainly beat Donald Trump. I mean, that's his whole card. That's the card he's going to play. He has begun to make fundraising calls himself, which is unusual. He doesn't like to do it. But there's the peril for him in that Bernie Sanders and multiple other candidates in the field, Jim Vandehei, have specific knowledge of how to reach low, $25, $30 contributors, repeat contributors. The Biden campaign doesn't have that base yet, and they're going to have to go initially, I would think, to large donors who drop down big checks at fundraising dinners, and that way the other candidates will lash back at them.
And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to do the Hillary Clinton route and the Obama route. Go out there and get big money from Wall Street. Go out there and get money from the big military complex. Go out there and kiss a bunch of corporate behind. Get money from them. So if you do get elected, you're going to go back and award them for the butt kissing that you've done. They expect results. You're not going to get the small donor of the people. The people are not for you, Joe Biden. You're not. And you can't get mad because they're not feeling you and they don't like you and they don't want you. You can't get mad. It sounds like one of my ex-girls, man. Go get mad because I didn't want to be with her. And then all of a sudden she just went off on me. Called me all kind of names. No, girl, I didn't want to be with you because you're crazy. You almost killed me the other night. I'm out. So why you getting mad?
I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a couple problems for Biden, right? Like, he's getting in and he's going to make the argument, I'm the only one who could beat Trump. But most Democrats are going to look at the polls and see that there's several Democrats who poll head-to-head against the president quite well, and often as well as he does.
My question is, what makes you think you're the only one to defeat Trump? Trump is so defeatable. He's defeating himself. The way he's handling the Mueller report, his reaction with his committees to check into to investigate the. He's got it clear on the on Russian collusion. There is no collusion. Bottom line, there's no collusion. So he's comfortable on that. But Mueller never said that you don't have no traces of obstruction of justice. You only going to do what you do, Trump. You're a boss and you like to get in the way of things. And if things don't go your way, you get rid of people. That's in America, that's called obstruction. You can't do that. You can't treat America like it's your corporation, dude. So, I mean, so with that going on and a whole bunch of other matters in the line to the Midwest and all that stuff, anybody has a chance of beating Trump. He is not that formidable. He is not that strong. The only thing Trump got is his base, and he's going to do whatever he can to try to keep that base. But that base isn't all that big. Half of that base was Bernie Sanders' base, and the only reason they went over to Trump is because independents don't like the Democrats, period. So they're not going to vote for Joe, Hillary, or no blue, no matter who. They're not on Team Blue. And they are the majority. And like I always say, the independents determine who will win the elections in the general. They may not do it in the primaries, but in the general, they are the decision makers. And Joe Biden is not getting none of those people to support him. This is going to be a waste of time, man.
Different era, like in terms of, especially at this juncture of the campaign, it's often how well can you communicate with people on social media? Can you get them to turn out for your events? Can you convert those social media followers into low dollar donors, which then I think creates its own sort of type of momentum. And Joe Biden's more old school in terms of, like you said, raising money from kind of the big money folks inside the Democratic Party, doing this fairly conventionally. Look at the rollout. He's going to do it, you know, in his home state. Then he's going to go to the 4 early states, and he's going to do the speeches you'd think that a Joe Biden would do. And so I think it's just a different time for him. Had he gotten in a month or two ago when everyone was saying he could be potentially the savior and protector of the Democratic Party, it'd be a different story. But the coverage of him over the last 3 weeks has been less than positive. And there's just been a lot, even the coverage of his announcement has been very much, he's going to do it this day, then he's going to do it that day, he might do it by video, might not do it by video. It just feels like it's not a well-oiled machine. And it feels like he's jumping in when there's a lot of Democrats who are generating excitement, right? If you look at Buttigieg, if you look at Bernie Sanders, if you look at Elizabeth Warren, if you look at Kamala Harris, there's a lot of pretty formidable people that he's running against who can make as good a claim as he can that they can beat Trump and that they can energize the Democratic Party, probably in a way that Joe Biden might have problems doing.
John Heilman, let me just say, I've yet to talk to a Democratic activist or a Democratic fundraiser who is excited about Joe Biden getting in the race. And I'll take it a step further, and I've been surprised, but...
Oh, God, Joe. Oh, man. I hate when they just throw out stuff out there. Lying through your teeth, Joe. A Democratic activist. All right, let's say Joe telling the truth. I probably know who the activist is. It's probably that black brother who claims he's for black people, whatever his name, from Get Woke YouTube channel, and he pops up on MSNBC with Joy Reid. You know, the one that like to slap people and choke them in the face. Yeah, that guy. So one dude, Joe, don't make a legion of young voters, a legion of middle-aged voters that are not going to be on Team Joe. Trump will kill Team Joe just on the crime bill alone. Nobody wants Joe but the older Democrats who think, well, since he was close to Barack Obama, he's the closest thing to Barack Obama. Still, Barack Obama ain't did nothing for y'all, so what make you think Joe Biden going to do something for you?
Almost every Democrat to a person that I have spoken with is concerned that this is going to end badly for Joe Biden and that he should not get into the race. And that is something I have heard repeatedly over the past several months. What about you?
Exactly. This is going to be disastrous. This is his, fourth go at it at a later age when right now you can't ride off Barack Obama popularity as a human being. If you look at his popularity as legislation, it would not be that high, but just as a good old guy. And with the allegations of the creepy Joe, the pedo Joe, and the kissing up on old ladies, and y'all got to leave out of here. I'm throwing grandma on the table and all that kind of stuff. I mean, some of those pictures look like he was about to say that. And then you got him kissing up on all these kids, and even though Mr. Over Affectionate Joe, and people want to give a pass for that. People thought I was giving him a pass for that, and I wasn't. And then you got the smelling women hair, man. Come on, dude. Smelling women hair. And then, like I said, your legislation, past, present, will determine your legislation in the future. As a senator, he has not done nothing concrete to help working class in a long time. And they got the nerve to call him working class Joe. This is going to be disastrous for Joe. Joe need to stop wasting his time. Stop feeling like you're being left out. Stop feeling like you're going to miss your chance, lose your chance. Stop. I guess he get in, Hillary going to get in.
Well, I think, yes, I think that's consistent with what a lot of people who report on politics and are tuned into this stuff have been hearing, Joe, including me. You know, I would say that among people who are close to the vice president and people who consider themselves fans of Joe Biden, people who would be happy to live in an America where Joe Biden was the president, those is maybe the constituency that's most concerned about what's about to happen to him. They've seen what's happened, what's unfolded over these last few months, not just related to some of these issues with some women who said that he was sort of too familiar with them in some cases and it didn't respect their personal space, but also watching him kind of mishandle some questions related to how progressive he is and how he fits into the modern party. There are these issues that Jim just pointed to and that Mike pointed to. He's never been a good fundraiser. He's never been someone with a big fundraising base. He's not been a player in the era of internet small donor fundraising. He's never been a guy, although he has a coterie of loyalists around him who love him and support him. He's not, and demonstrably in 1988 and in 2008, both of those runs for president did not work out very well. So I think you're right to say, first of all, among activists, there's not a hue and cry. And activists obviously are not the whole of the Democratic Party, but there's a long chunk of yardage between now and the first votes. And there's not a lot of activists who are like crying out for Joe Biden. And among people who like him most and have his best interest at heart, you hear a pronounced sense of, I wouldn't say exactly fear, but concern that this might not go all that well.
Exactly. Now, he hit it on the nail. You couldn't hit it any better than that. This is just not it, man. I mean, you don't know how to campaign. The old school of picking up the phone and calling people don't work. You will get your butt slapped all over the place if you go out there and raise money from these big rich people as a Democrat. That's just not going to work. That is not where this crooked party is right now. This crooked party is leaning left, even though it's still got a bunch of crooks. It's just a whole lot. It's just not going to fare well with Joe Biden. So, you know, everything I said, this guy just said.
He's polling at or near the top of the Democratic field. He's got a long road ahead.
Willie, is it Willie, guys? Polling don't mean nothing. You pick and choose your polling. You saying he polling doesn't mean that these things are not a factor, dude. Who are you polling? That's the key word. Who are you polling? You're not polling all Americans. You're polling a certain segment of society in America. And you get to pick and choose who you want to call the poll. So, Willie Geis, or whatever your name, your point is mute. He's polling high. Yeah, with 45 and up Democrats. He's not polling high with Republicans. He's not polling high with the rest of the Democrats, especially 45 and under. He's probably not polling well with women, especially with the fact that he's smelling their hair and invading their space. So who are you polling, Joe? He's probably polling those older women that would love to have Joe Biden just grab him by the face and give him a kiss and all that kind of stuff. Man, get out of here with this mess, man. Talking about he polling high. Of course, I can poll high. Just ask about 10 people around here in my building and ask, is Bob a cool guy? If they know me, they'll say, yeah. So, and then I'll poll high. Easy to poll.
There's a lot of time for him to make up that ground. Here's the latest Monmouth poll has Joe Biden on top of the race, 7 points up.
Monmouth poll. You know what kind of place Monmouth University is? It's an upper class university. See, like I say, they pick and choose their voters. And then say among 330 Democratic voters. So you're polling 330 Democratic upper elite voters. So of course Joe Biden's going to be at 27% because those voters and those type of people at those type of university is that. And again, that still could be skewed. They could have polled just the staffers at the college, or the people at the college who made the phone calls. They could be calling 45 and up people. Again, mean nothing. Don't let these polls fool you, because in other polls, Bernie Sanders is killing Joe Biden. All right, hold on. Give me a moment. Where the heck is Tulsi Gabbard? Tulsi Gabbard is the Democrats that are running. They got the nerves to have John Hickenlooper. John Hickenlooper. John Hickenlooper, really? It sounds like something I would tell my boy to do to his girl when I was a teenager under the bleachers. Hey, Jan, Joe, hick and loop her. Core book at 2%. Better. Where's Elizabeth? Not Elizabeth Warren. Tulsi Gabbard is not even on this thing. And they know Tulsi is a voice of the voiceless, and right up there with certain other candidates that really talk, go straight at them, straight shooter. They ain't going to have her on the poll because they don't want her polling well. They probably didn't even ask her among these guys. They probably say, among these guys running for office, who would you choose? They probably went to the senior center and walked around in the senior center with their clip poll and asked them, out of all these people, who do you pick? Of course, they're going to pick Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, because they're the older people up there. And let me keep going.
On Bernie Sanders. And at the end of the day, as Mike said, Joe, a lot of people are going to look at this race and say, who can beat Donald Trump? Who ends the Trump administration? And they may decide it's Joe Biden.
All right, well, people are not asking that question. People don't care about who can beat Trump. Trump isn't the only question. We don't want real Americans don't want somebody just to defeat Trump. Real Americans want somebody that's going to legislate policies that's going to lift them up and give them a better life. Hell, you're taking all our tax dollars. The least thing you could do is give us policies that's going to better us to have more of a better life so we can give you more tax dollars, you pimps. Nobody's really focusing. It's what are you going to do to lift me and my people up, and my fellow comrades, my neighborhood, my community up? Jobs in the whole 9 yards, health care, ability to go to college, reparations, all that stuff. What are you going to do? That's first. Trump is second. Only you guys are worried about Trump.
How does he move this conversation forward? The last month, we've seen not overly negative stories about him, but there is a negative dynamic set into this campaign, and it is hard to see Joe Biden stirring up the type of excitement as, say, Kamala Harris did in her introduction, or that
let's see if they're going to say Bernie Sanders.
Mayor Pete is doing every day. So the question is, how does...
See, he couldn't even name Bernie Sanders, man. These cocky, arrogant news reporters that just don't like Bernie. Look, I'm not on a Bernie tip, but I'm not going to sit here and act like those people on Bernie's side. Those folks hate Bernie too. They hate his guts. So why? Because he has the ability to do something that they don't. See, this is something I will admit. Bernie Sanders' policy help all people. Even though I believe I'm not voting for anybody that's not going to have something that's particular for us to help bridge certain gaps. You got to get an understanding and know what we're talking about on this. That if we don't bridge our personal gap in the black community within a certain amount of years, we're almost obsolete. That's why right now climate change isn't our number one concern, because climate change is it could be 12 to 15 years starting to climb. But when it comes to the black dollar and the black African American community, that's ADOS, We have a time frame of 12 years or less existing financially in America unless this government help. They're crushing us right now. And one of the reasons why they're crushing us because now they're catering, instead of taking time to cater us and fix our situation, they got to cater to everybody. See, it was just mainly us and the Western civilization, British and all that. And the French and all that, they came to America. But now everybody's coming to America. We're being left behind, and we are trying to fight to take care of that so we don't get lost in the shuffle. And the only way to fix that is they have to provide a bridge over that. And right now, reparations is the only bridge. But I'm not going to sit here and ride the reparation horse and not even mention how Bernie Sanders is not their friend. Bernie Sanders may not be a lot of people's friends, but he sure ain't the Democratic Party friend, and he sure ain't the media friend. They can't even name his name out. He's the only one out here churning up the base, better than Kamala Harris, better than Buttigieg. Buttigieg ain't churning up nothing. Come on, they not churning up nothing. They refuse to say the man's name. And one reason why they refuse to say his name, because Bernie said it will be a threat to the establishment.
Doing every day. So the question is, how does he change the dynamic? He's used to being treated well by the press. He's always been treated well by the press. Things may get much more difficult in this competitive Democratic primary.
I would say this, though, Joe. We're going to find out fairly quickly here. We're going to find out, I think, within the next 2 months, once the former vice president announces, once he gets out there on the trail, once he sees crowds, how big are the crowds, what's the response to him among the crowds, what's the emotion behind his campaign, what's the pitch of his campaign. That's all going to be laid out, I think, pretty quickly.
Jim Vandehei, before you go, last word on Biden. What do you think?
I mean, listen, I agree that he's leading in the polls, but so much of that really has to do with people know who Joe Biden is. It'll be really interesting. If you watch that CNN forum earlier this week with the 5 candidates, you have a party, you have most of your candidates, other than Buttigieg, who's just not saying that much specifically, who sound so far to the left of Joe Biden, who sound so far to the left of Democratic candidates that we've heard in the past. And they sound that way because that's what's resonating with the Democratic Party right now. So if you're not with them on Medicare for all and free college education and other topics, it's just tough right now.
The road begins tomorrow for Joe Biden. Jim.
All right, there you go. This is going to be bad, man. This is a waste of time. You notice they trying to prop up Buttigieg as if he's a far left opponent in the Democratic Party. He is not far left. I'm going to do my own piece on Buttigieg soon when I do Meet the Nation. I'm going to have you meet Buttigieg. I'm going to let you meet the negative and the positive. I didn't go too much on the positive of Marianne Wilson, but she does come off kind of kooky, guru, spooky type thing, but she's smart as I don't know what, and she has some policies that are good, some that are bad, especially when it comes to whistleblowers and things like that. I'm not in, and she won't get my vote just because of that, but I do want to hear her on a stage to kind of explain a little more, or maybe I'm misreading her. But this dude right here, they keep claiming that he's number one in the polls, and he's really not number one in the polls in general polls. Only a select people that they're polling, he's being number one at. And like I said, there's usually a 45 up crowd that's Democratic, and a lot of them come from ritzy-titsy areas. And so, I mean, go ahead and poll all the senior people at the senior home. Now, of course, they're going to say Joe Biden is the best bet because they probably grew up with the dude. But nevertheless, this is not going to be good. And Joe Biden running for office, I don't know why he's doing this. He already got to deal with these women issues. He think his apology is not enough. They're going to be hitting him upside the head with this smelling my hair, creepy, invading my space, just like they're going to hit Trump on. He can't even hit Trump over the head with the woman thing because he's been doing creepy stuff himself with women and with children, invading their space, just bogarting his way in. That's going to be an issue. My issue is the crime bill, his most greatest achievement. And if I ever get a chance to go to a debate, I'm going to ask him about it. And I wish I could play the quote. But I mean, wherever he's at, I'm going to ask him about that. I'm going to be in his face about that because to this day, that has affected the black community. To this very day, it has did a terrible unbalance of what used to be a hard-cultured, traditional family system that was hard to break, but yet him and the Vietnam War come in, and then drugs come in, and then the crime bill come in, and welfare. Those four combinations really decimated the black community. Before all those things, which were initiated by our government, came in, the black community and the black family was strong. But from Vietnam on down, it just went down, and he played a pivotal role in that. All right, so I was looking at a poll. All right, it said Biden sound fundraising alarm and conference call. So he's calling all the rich donors. Please give me some money, please. I beg of thee. They say Joe Biden is the front runner over Democrats and Donald Trump. All right. Biden begins 2021 with an edge over the Trump. Like I said, who don't have an edge over Trump? Now these numbers right here, that don't mean anything. Gen X 34%. Biden got 41%. 21 would not vote. That is huge. It's going back to independence. All right. That 41 can switch if Trump offers something to Gen X. A lot of them going to close that gap of 41%. Boomers, 41% Trump, 38% Joe. So he's not getting the boomers. Millennials, he got 47%, so-called 47%. Actually, 21% is not on his side. It's not going to be enough for him to win anything around here. Women, men, 28% more men are for Trump than Biden. Less women for Trump than Biden. A lot of people are neutral. They're not for Biden or Trump. And I get it. You have that right not to even get involved with these two nutcases. But hey, you've been smelling people hair. I don't want no parts of that. All right. And but according to this, all voters, 19%, which represents mainly the independents, they determine who won the election. Believe me, those 19% is not going to vote for Biden. They're not going to support Biden. They're going to jump over here. All right, so don't let it be fool you. It's not going to be easy for Joe Biden to beat Trump. Heck, it won't even be easy for him to win Democratic primaries. Bernie Sanders pretty much got that in lock at this moment, and even with the threat from the African American community, the ADOS community, Bernie Sanders still have that locked up because there's a lot of black people in America that are not ADOS, and they're leaning right now toward Bernie Sanders too, and they have not gotten a pact with the ADOS to say no black agenda, no vote, because the black agenda actually is supposed to be us standing up for them too. You know, the African American community, ADOS, the American Descendants of Slaves, they're doing their protests on behalf of all black people, but yet they want to be specific on the economic needs of American descendants of slaves. But yet, when we talk about a black agenda, we're talking about blacks in general. But yet, a lot of people from overseas that are black, from Africa and West Indies, they may not join ADOS on that. Do I think they should? I think if you want a black agenda to be pushed in Congress, all blacks need to come together and help push that agenda. But will they do it? Who knows? As of now, Bernie Sanders still lead in the black vote. And like I said, if he wins the primary, he'll win the election because the independents are on his side. Anyway, back to Joe Biden. Like I said, if you get the black vote, if Bernie Sanders win the primary, he will win the general. He's beaten Donald Trump in double digits. They've been polling all cross demographics, not just certain select few. If this guy think he'll be able to out-raise Bernie Sanders, out-campaign Bernie Sanders, and out-organize Bernie Sanders, he's going to have a rude awakening because nobody can do that right now. Even with oppositions against Bernie Sanders, he have a lot of things to overcome those oppositions. Okay, right now, and I'm just being truthful, in the polling, he is polling very well, even among blacks. May not be with the ADOS, but blacks from all over the world that's living in this country now, that's benefiting off the efforts of ADOS, they haven't jumped on the ADOS agenda 100%. It'll be a good thing they do, because the ADOS agenda and the fight for specific policies for black people to help black people in general to close the economic gap, then that would be good for them to do. But nobody can tell anybody what to do, and nobody can force. This is America, and all I can say right now, Joe Biden does not have the machine that Bernie Sanders have. Kamala Harris ain't got it. Buttigieg ain't got it. None of them got it right now. Bernie Sanders have a juggernaut going on. And much as I may like or hate to say it, much as you like for me or hate for me to say it, these are the facts. And to derail that is not going to be easy. It got to be something sleazy, and I'm quite sure the Democratic Party is going to come up with something, and Joe Biden probably be in the middle of the midst of it, ready to derail Bernie Sanders' campaign. And a whole bunch of people ready to derail Bernie Sanders' campaign. But that's it. Joe Biden's talking about running for office. It's on tomorrow. It's just a waste of time, man.